Welcome, everybody, to another week with Marketing Momentum with Charles and Deborah. Hi, Charles.
Hi, Deb. Hi, everybody.
I feel like what is it? There's a commercial that they actually use the green screen. It's like, was it a cleaning product or something? I feel like I should be like, here's your Windex and here's how they use that or something. Of course, by the time people are watching it, there's going to be something else there. It's like, what green screen? Where?
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah.
um, okay, so this topic this week, sales messages. And Charles, I was trying to remember if I heard this from you, if I heard this somewhere else. It seems like I'm like 90% sure I heard it from you, but I'm either that or I was inspired to think of you. But the idea that there's a certain percentage of your communications with people that should be teaching them, helping them, relationship building versus the sales portion. Was that you, Charles, where you said there's a formula?
No, I don't know. I don't know if I said there's exact formula. I definitely believe that, though. I
I can
definitely
tell by your
believe
email.
that.
You do. You make it very relational. I've said that before. So if you guys aren't subscribed, you need to subscribe to Charles' emails.
Yeah, I mean, I guess if you're gonna do it every day, right? You can't. I mean, sometimes you do have to hard sell, right? And sometimes you just have to do it. But I mean, if you're going to send every day, it would be kind of hard to hard sell and then, just not send people flocking, off of your subscriber list.
I'd be one of them. I've even said that. They say, "Why'd you unsubscribe?" Because you send me 5 emails per day, and I can't quite take that many.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of and even still, and that goes to kind of a point where I guess um the autoresponder companies are going to have to kind of figure out something different, because I think what's happening is that some of the web-based emails, you have a situation where it looks like someone hasn't opened, but really these web-based emails are giving people previews, and so they're
Mm.
looking at them, and so it looks like you didn't open it, but really you did because you saw it, and they say, okay, well, they didn't see it, they didn't open it, so they wouldn't mind if I send it again, but really they do mind because they did see it. And
Oh,
so,
have you got those emails where people send you? They basically send you spam, and I used to just ignore spam, delete it, whatever, code it to go in the. Now they're sending follow up emails to the spam, follow up spams to
exactly.
their spam. I'm like, I mean, I don't get upset that very often about emails because it's like spam has been around since the beginning of time, well, beginning of the internet.
Yep.
But those come, it's like, take me off your list. Do not ever contact me again because they're always sales. Like, I can do your website. I don't need you to do my website. Thank you
Right.
anyway.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. And a lot of it is, I mean, anybody can buy a really cheap tracker now, right? Anybody can put tracking code in their email. And when somebody doesn't open it, you feel like, okay, well, I haven't lost anything, right? So I'm gonna email again, right? So I think that is
Oh, okay.
the whole technology, though, is now outdated, because again, somebody needs to be able to account for the fact that maybe somebody previewed the email. They're looking at it in one of these preview panes, but it doesn't show it's open. And so they're looking at it, they're reading it, and then they just decide, okay, I'm just not going to do anything with it. So what that does is that kind of means they're going to get another one because they didn't open that one. So
I do that, by the way. When you're talking about web based, I don't know exactly when I started, but I used to try, I tried Apple Mail, I tried Outlook, I tried, all these different email programs. There
right,
was always something that seemed to break or something that wasn't working or something. And I didn't have any problem fixing it, but it was just like, why does it always break, at like 4 in the morning, or it breaks when you don't have time to fix it.
of course,
So I
right.
started doing the web based and I haven't stopped. I just, yeah. So I'm one of those that would have the preview that would show that I read it. And by the way, Charles, I do read your email. So if you see
Thank
that, I really am reading it. Oh yeah, great. So which ones am I previewing? Which ones am I reading? I generally, actually, come to think of it, I don't have a preview. So yeah, I guess now I'm announcing to the world that if you see that it's red, I probably did open it.
you.
Okay, so the message, I keep wanting to go back to Charles, what you do, because you keep it relational. It feels warm. It feels not that you're saying what your family had for dinner last night, but kind of that like okay, I don't want to say old school because that's probably not the word I'm looking for. So feel free to
That's a
interrupt me.
little
But
bit.
it kind of that like passing someone on the way to go get the mail and kind of chit chat and what's going on in life. And it gives that feeling that's not that there's too much information being shared and Boy, that was the wrong thing to say. I didn't mean that you would, Charles. But I'm
No, I
saying
no, I get it. Yeah.
it's not necessarily the information as far as on a personal level or anything, but it's that warm, fuzzy feeling, and but not too warm and fuzzy. Okay, is there a better way to say all that?
Right. No, no, I know exactly what you mean, right? I mean, it's kind of like it's kind of interesting, seeing all the buzz about Facebook, right?
I
And
think I
about
ignore it.
yeah, about privacy and about and I kind of think that I've always treated Facebook and any of the socials, right? I've never treated it like my best friend I would invite into my living room. I've always treated it like the office, right? So you share some stuff at the office, and it sort of feels like everybody sort of feels like it's personal, but it's office personal,
It's yeah, exactly, exactly.
right? And
There's
so
this boundary between yeah,
yeah, yeah, and so it's kind of like I I- I think people appreciate the just like they would in a corporate office, right? People sort of appreciate that you made the effort to kind of be a little self-revealing, maybe even a little self-deprecating, but you're not like you're not saying, "Oh, I'm about to, my whole life is falling apart." Then, when you meet that person in a corporate office, you sort of like, "Oh, okay, I didn't want you to tell me all that,"
get it together. Go home and get it together, and then
right?
come back. Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah.
Right now, that doesn't happen on social, but I mean, but you understand the point. But I've always treated that way. I guess I sort of look at sort of what we do on email, maybe going a little bit beyond that, um, in trying to be relatable. But I guess I sort of, and this is something I picked up from I think it was Russell Brunson, and this was almost 2 years ago that I read .com Secrets and I kind of
It's like
adapted, right?
as
So
soon as he said, like, man, I gotta finish that. I gotta finish that.
um, but it's kind of like my version of because I started reading it, and just like everything else, right? I'm a third born child, so if you tell me I gotta go, like all my arrows have to go to the left, I'm gonna start looking at some of them on the right side. So I read what he was saying, and I was kind of like, oh, I can do that, but I don't want to do it like he does it. I want to do like I do it. So I think that's sort of what it is.
I didn't know that, Charles. That's good to know because I'm also third born too. And I was the same thinking. It's like, yeah, but she did it that way. He did it that. I'm not doing it that way.
Right? I can't, and you don't want to say it, but you're just like it can't be right.
I used to have a thing. My parents asked me to do something that I was about to do. It's like, well, now I'm not going to do it because you asked me to do it. But it's like,
Right,
but if you hadn't said
exactly.
anything, I would have done it.
Well, yeah. See, I had an older at my oldest sister, right? Company policy lady, right? I mean,
Hmm.
whatever the parents said, it was the company policy, and that's the way she is now. I mean, she's like, I told you, she's like, she looks at herself like the oldest duck to keep all little ducks in line
Oh
behind the
wow.
mama and the daddy duck. That's the way she looks at herself. My dad calls her Sarge, in fact, right? So that's but I was always the one kind of like, well, if she thinks we need to go left, I'm gonna be yelling at her. We need to go this way. We need to go this way.
Exactly. I had one of where she never did anything wrong. I mean, I don't know. It was like she had to always follow exactly what my parents said, which is cool, but like she had no personality. So we had this gal live with us for a while, and oh my goodness, she broke every rule there was. She's worse than I was at all. Like I want to be like Krista. I mean, I was like this little 8-year-old. I just like stuck to her. I wanted to do exactly what Krista was doing, and then my parents told her to move out. It's like they said, well, because she's a bad influence on you. Like no, actually, I still owe her.
It's a
She's
right.
gone. Yeah.
We were right. Yeah, we were.
Yeah, on that one. But she was way more fun to talk to when I got home from school and tell me about boys and what you could do to get their attention and all that stuff. None of that stuff my sister did. Oh man. Okay. Sales. Yes. The office personal. I love that term. I think that should be like I was gonna say embossed in something because that makes sense. Office personal, where you're giving that sense, as you said, as far as that kind of transparency, but you're not really sharing it. I do now
Yeah,
want to say what I was thinking, but anyway.
yeah. I mean, yeah, not the most intimate, sort of things that you would share with your family or your spouse. And I guess, ultimately, right? I think it was I don't know if Russell Brunson said this phrase specifically. I think it was Evan Pagan that says, you know, you however you do it, right? Even if you do it impersonal, you sort of have to try to let people know that you sort of get them, right? You get them, and in some way, you're trying to connect with people so that they say, okay, you know what, um, that person in this way, they're just like me, right? And so you put enough sort of data points out there about yourself so that you sort of make people, you let people know, hey, I'm this. I mean, I'm just this dude that does this stuff, and I'm like you in this way, right?
That makes a lot of sense. That you want to be able to relate to them, but you don't necessarily want their whole life's history. That makes a lot of sense. Um, Man, you're so good at this, Charles. I had this this thing I was going to ask you, and I'm like, I can't remember because it was. See, now if you can do that with your email, where you have like all the questions answered and people are ready to hit the buy button. I mean, that's nirvana in sales, right?
Right. Yeah. And I mean, and there's some people who are, I mean, who can write one paragraph every day, right? It's just their persona, and people love it. I mean, you know what I mean? So it's kind of like you know, you sort of have to sort of find, your groove, right? I mean, my friend Dwayne, I might have even told this story before. I got on the webinar the first time, and I did what I knew how to do. I just got the subject and I taught it. And Dwayne was livid. He was like, "What are you doing?" I said,
Wait,
"Yeah." I said, "What do you mean? What am I doing?" You said, "You told me to get on the webinar and teach them this subject." He said, "No, you need to train people." I said, "You'll never sell anything that way." And so it was kind of like I kind of found out that, okay, well, you got to do things differently when you're in a webinar. But I think over the years, I've sort of figured out that my own style, and it's funny, we had this conversation, I don't know, maybe as late as a year ago, that he has now said that, I used to train people that they had to do it this way. They had to sell this way on from the stage, or they had to sell this way on the calls. He said, now I realize that everybody can't do that, and not everybody's even effective doing that, because that's the way I kind of felt, that I could not go through even Russell Brunson's quote perfect webinar formula. It just feels like it's just not going to work for me, and so I can't make that work. I sort of know what I sort of have to do it the way I do it, and I guess that's going to be the case with any, like with some email, blog posts, right? I mean, there's some people, and I'm sure you've met them, right, who can sell anything in a blog post. And I'm just
mm-hmm.
thinking, I mean, you get down to the end of it, it's like, why am I on this page? Why am I buying this thing? And really, because the person kind of roped you in, and you didn't even realize what they were doing until you got to the page. You're already getting ready to buy this thing. But that's cool, because that's the way they do it.
Well, and somebody had, I keep remembering, even with the emails, if somebody sends me one email a day, and I'm not quoting this, guys, don't all of you go out there and send me one email a day, but I mean, it's like, all right, they have to make a living, so I'm not bothered by this. It's when, it's like 5 emails, 10 emails, 15, or,
Right.
oh, I got the wrong link. I don't know if that's a technique or something. I've sure
The
seen that a
wrong
lot,
link,
but,
yeah.
but it's like, all right, I saw the first email and I wasn't interested. I'm not any more interested. In fact, now I'm unsubscribing. And I don't know if I'm odd, if there's other people like that.
Oh no,
But
I'm sure there are. Yeah.
but I was thinking about what you were saying about Dwayne. I still say, sometimes I wonder if Dwayne and my son are related, because they both have this Midas touch where you just go into a room and just get people to do whatever you
Just get people
want
to do
or
stuff,
something.
right?
And it's
Yeah.
like, I look at my son, it's like, whatever it is that you know how to do, will you will you teach me? Because, and he's over there, thanks mom and dad for raising me this way. I go, man, that's making points. Okay, that's something I got.
That's
I'm
the way
trying
you
to.
do it, right?
That's exactly. But Dwayne, he's just said this before. There's just something like a light bulb, or not a light bulb, lightning bolt, or something that goes off when he starts. But it's not the style. I like how you said that, Charles. It's not the style for everyone. I'm not.
No.
I'm not Dwayne. For several reasons. Dwayne doesn't have purple hair. One thing that I know of, so that's not. But there is a different. I read something about, you've heard of Larry Noman, right? He's
Yep.
like the grandfather of Christian rock or whatever. And there was someone was saying how he was so ill, but he went out on the stage and he said that's where the lightning bolt idea came from. But like lightning bolt hit him, and he could perform even if he's on death's bed. I mean, rest his soul, he's gone now, but I remember thinking that when I go on stage, it's a whole different. It's like a different Deb. I just come alive singing the whole thing. And it's like, you know what? We each have our thing, if you will, our our groove and how we
Yeah,
do that.
no, yeah, no, that's true. And you probably, I mean, from the stage, you probably have no trouble asking people to go down there and buy one, buy my CDs
Mhm.
right here, right? And it'd probably be a totally different thing than saying, my info product is right here. I mean, you know what I mean? So you're sort of in this venue where, you can say very easily, fluidly. And, I think part of it, part of the whole sales process, if there is any science to it, is um, when you feel really strongly about something, it's kind of like people sort of go along with it, right? And I'm guessing that's how you could probably sell CDs. You probably
Mhm.
just, hey, it's right here. This is really good. You need to get this. Whereas, you might feel sheepish about that in another area.
You know, it's so true though. When I was doing the SI stuff for no, this is not Deb's bragging time. It's just I have to give you context, but the for the school, and we had like this special formula, and you had to count 8 seconds before. I'm not saying it's a bad routine. Give people time to percolate, and then ask if there's any questions, and then wait another 8 seconds. And I was dying. I was like trying to follow this formula, and pretty soon it was like, you know what, I'm doing my own thing here, and so I did, and I had like triple the next time I had triple the attendees and then like 5 times. I started
Yep.
breaking records in how many attendees, and all I did different really gave the same content except that I changed the curriculum. I didn't change the curriculum as far as what the outcome is, but how I presented it, I changed it a
Yep.
little bit. But I mean, people would email me, I'd respond to them. They just started to sense that I really cared. Even after I left, I was still getting emails like I never would have made it. But the difference is what you said, Charles. You find you don't do it exactly as you're told. Not to say you go out there and don't follow directions, but
Right.
you find your own groove.
Yeah, and I think that's. I mean, I think confidence is everything, right? I was listening to what is it? This book called The Conversion Code, and I mean, and to be honest, I can't remember. I probably remember 10 words of the 4 hours I listened to. Right? It was interesting. I just don't remember any of it. And but the guy said at the beginning, he said, part of sales is enthusiasm, and at the end of enthusiasm is are the letters IASM. I am sold myself. And so you sort of have to be so sold that you're enthusiastic, and that matters more than technique, that matters more than the right pitch, that matters more than the right words, is being really sold from within, so that whatever you're communicating, even if you're stumbling and stammering over your words, people kind of sense that whatever those psychic tentacles are, they sort of feel that, right? And then they're more likely to respond positively.
That's a really good point because when I was teaching statistics, I love statistics. And I even admitted at the beginning, I said, now I'm weird. I'm geeky. I know that most of you are like, this is a required class. I don't want to take it, blah, blah, blah. But you're right that it's like it was contagious that, and then people would say, oh, I can't do this. I can't do it. It's like, whoa, 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 whoa. Let's take it one step at a time. We can walk through this assignment, not assignment. I wasn't doing, no, no, no. I was not doing their work for them, but like a mirror assignment or something that they could practice. But yeah, everybody started to kind of catch that after a while. You're right. That's a good point.
Yeah, I mean, and I can't remember who it was. And the name of the book is Conversion Code. And like I said, it's the only thing I remember from the book. I just think it's true, right? You really do have to sort of be sold on whatever it is. And even if you go into it with, even if you have the best Facebook ads or viral app or whatever the case is, if you're not kind of convinced that this could really do what you say it's going to do, it's probably not going to sell as much as you might think.
That reminds me of something I saw last night. I think I did buy it. I can't remember what it's called. I'm sorry that whoever, but it was Todd Gross was giving his normal. I say it's his normal thing. I'm not minimizing it, but one of the first things he said is, my team and I try this out before we present it. We try to, everything and see how it works. But somehow him saying that, like he's right there with me as far as
Yep.
experiencing it, made me that much more sold.
Yeah, 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 and if Todd's an interesting person, because typically, if you go to him and you ask him, would you be willing to kind of do some of the sales presentations? Would you be willing to promote for us? He sort of sticks with video related stuff,
Mm-hmm.
because I mean that's sort of where he even if he probably knows about a lot of stuff, like all of us, but he sort of sticks in that sort of semi broad range of video related software, and he's credible even though his voice is everywhere over the course of years. I think it really is a matter of kind of sort of staying focused in that one area.
It works for me because, I have every video app under the sun, it seems. And when I see him, it's like if he's vouching for this is
Uh-huh.
probably pretty good, at least somewhere on that scale between, kind of a and a C somewhere. And that works for me as long as the price reflects that ROI. So,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
and he probably knows he at this point now because of it, because of that, right? He can't now. He not only can he not put his name behind anything, right? I mean, he has to make sure that he's going to promote something that's going to be good, or he's got to have he's going to be a partner on something that's good. It's kind of probably helps him again in the sales process.
makes sense. So if we were going to close this up with some action steps, how do you think we could sum it up? It doesn't have to be three, although three pops in my head every time I do this, but
Yeah, I think one thing is just kind of knowing, um, who the customer is and who they sort of expect you to be, right? And to try to let them know someplace in the sales process that you really do understand what they're trying to accomplish, right? And that you even given that you still think what you're offering is right. So I guess the most important thing, if I were to say one thing, is just kind of understand and letting people know you get them.
kind of that relatable. Is that if we had to use one word?
Yep.
Not that I love your description. I'm just trying to think if we were like doing some kind of acronym. Okay, I'm not doing an acronym, right, guys? But relatable, approachable. What was the other thing? You said so many good things, Charles. Now I'm trying to extract it out of what you said as far as finding your own group. That was if you guys missed that, like rewind. I gotta stop using the word rewind. Move your little slider to the left and
That's right.
that one again. But don't have to be somebody else. Oh, the 1,000 true friends. I
Oh
think
yeah,
every once in a while it's like, wait a minute, I mean 1,000 could be a lot, but it's not 10,000. So you only really have to connect with that really close tribe of 1,000 people,
that's
and
right.
you've got a group to sell things to. So that's cool. Well, I was gonna say that's all I got. That's all, folks. I'm not doing a Warner Brothers thing. But thanks all for tuning in to Marketing Momentum with Charles and Deborah, and we'll catch you next week.
Bye bye everybody. Bye bye Deb.